Happy Friday, everyone. It's New Life for Jen, or my YouTube name is candj1977, and I am on week 4 of the Back2BasicsWLS channel, and this week our topic is motivation. Pretty much where you find your motivation, how do you motivate yourself, and what do you do if you lose your motivation. I will say that my motivation has changed or shifted since entering maintenance. I was motivated strictly. I was a self-motivator in the beginning. My drive to get to goal and the scale was my motivator. My clothing sizes were motivators. Doing things that I wasn't able to ever do before was my motivation, and I have found that since probably February or March, I have had to find motivation in others and find ways to remotivate myself. I wrote down a couple things of some of the stuff that I try to self-motivate myself. I believe that I am my biggest cheerleader. I am my biggest motivator. One of the things I was very determined on doing is through the whole losing phase was to take pictures of myself through the changes, because I'm motivated a lot by pictures and by results. And so I am a very physically hand-on, want to see the actual result motivator type of person. I've kept a lot of photo journals of my arm definition from starting kettlebells and to show the results. I like to see results. I'm motivated by results, and since I've seen results with different things that I've done for my body, it just motivates me to keep going. So I encourage everyone to document, your journey very well, from beginning to end to current, even if you're in your maintenance phase, to document things, because going back and looking back at your journal or your diary of your journey can help remotivate you. And that's what I kind of do with myself. If I get kind of down or losing your mojo per se, I go back and I look at my past journals of how this produced this result, and that motivates me. But some of the things that in the beginning that helped motivate me and still do is I've had to learn to leave my comfort zone. In this journey, I've learned a lot of things that I would have never done before because I wasn't comfortable doing it. And then you get to a point where you build this confidence and you do it whether you care what people think or not. So, and one of those examples for me was the kettlebells and the strength training. That was way out of my comfort zone. I had seen results with it with others, and I wanted those same results, so I left my comfort zone and did the strength training and made it pretty much my focus through my losing phase. And I always had to tell myself it was okay if I made a mistake. I had to learn that it wasn't going to be perfect and that it was okay to make a mistake, and that I just needed to, I had to find the wisdom in myself that it was okay to make a mistake and just to learn from it. And everyone makes mistakes, and it was okay to have them and to learn from. And I feel like with the mistakes I've made through my journey, I've grown stronger for them. I try not to do negative self-talk with myself. That to me, when I start feeling negative is when my motivation goes out the window. If I'm feeling negative on my food choice, if I'm feeling negative about my status of myself, my family, anything that involves my life, if I let the negativity in, my motivation goes right out the window. So I try to stay positive. And I know that's cliche, but in all honesty, I truly believe that staying positive has helped me get to where I am. I try not to let things get me down, even though I have so many circumstances where I should be miserable and depressed. I try not to let myself go there, and that keeps me motivated by staying positive. Self-development helps me stay motivated, reading books, reading articles, listening to all of you on YouTube, finding out about your journeys and your journey will inspire me to do better things as well. I find motivation in others' journeys. I love watching somebody new go through this process, the pre-op diet and then the surgery and then those first months after, because there's so much power in those first couple months because you're so on it, and it inspires me. It re-inspires me again to be motivated. And that first 6 months is just the most amazing feeling. You feel on top of the world, you're losing, and it's just very motivating to me. So I learn a lot from others. And another thing I've had to do, which I did this to a point, but not with myself, is to finish things that I start. If I start something, I need to finish it. And I've always been a person to finish what I start as long as it didn't have to physically do with me as a person. If it had to do with my kids, it was finished from start to finish. If it had to do with my husband, it was finished from start to finish. If it had to do with my work, I finished it. And, but with myself, I would start stuff and not finish, because I would either put myself lower on the totem pole of things that needed to be done, and then myself and my body suffered because I would not put myself first. So learning to finish what I start and putting myself first has been a great motivation to just keep going, and that it's worth it. Never quit if I have a setback or a frustration. To me, quitting was never an option. So if I look back and say to myself, I can't do this, or I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore, I look back at where I started, and I just know that I have to commit to this with all my heart, and just know that the choices and decisions I'm going to make will help carry me through the rest of my life, because no way in any shape or form do I believe this was just a 11-month or 10-month journey. I know this is going to be the rest of my life, and not to get overwhelmed with looking too far ahead. And that's something I currently have to work on. I need to learn to live in the present and not worry about what's going to happen a month from now, 3 months from now, a year from now. I have to focus on the present, and my motivation will stay there. If I look too far ahead, I get discouraged, and like I said, there comes the negativity, and there goes my motivation. So living in the present and working on just for today, that helps me stay motivated. And dare to dream big dreams or big goals. I mean, don't be afraid. As long as you can handle it, if you don't get to that goal, set big dreams and goals for yourself. I mean, all that did for me was motivate me to work harder. And then if I didn't get to that weight goal or this goal, I set a new one. And I didn't get discouraged by it. It just motivated me through that time to get to where I needed to be. So set big dreams, set big goals, or mini goals, or whatever it is that motivates you. Having goals in place for me is a major motivator. Now that I've reached my weight goal and my size goal and those types of things, I want to work on fitness goals. So I'm very goal-oriented, and that's another thing that helps keep me motivated. But the biggest part of that is not to get down on yourself or get negative with yourself if you don't reach those goals. You need to learn to be able to congratulate yourself for what you accomplished in that time frame and set a new one and move on. And this was a little quote by Charles Du Bois that I had found that I have actually printed out on my computer. We must be prepared at any moment to sacrifice who we are for who we are capable of becoming. And I've had that. If it wasn't such a long quote, I would have it tattooed somewhere on my body. But we must be prepared at any moment to sacrifice who we are for who we are capable of becoming. And that is just truth in itself. And that to me is motivating, is knowing that I could be any person I wanted to be as long as I commit to that myself and make it happen. So those are some of the things I've done and are currently doing to stay motivated. The group is a great motivation as always, but you are your own self-motivator. You're the one that actually has to get yourself to move forward. And whether that be on your own or with a group pushing and holding you up and pushing you forward, whatever you have to do to stay motivated, because this journey is worth it. Health is worth it. Your family's worth it, and you are worth it. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Happy Friday, and I will see you guys next week on Back to Basics WLS. Talk to you guys later. Bye.